Hey folks, welcome back. Another Poem Masters video, and today we're going to go over the new Zinnia Rayquaza and Leaf Eevee Synchrons. And both of these Synchrons, I'd say, aren't... Okay, it's interesting how the two of them actually went in, like, pretty different directions. I'll talk about it after we go over the grids, and again, obviously, the info thanks to absolutely on Twitter, right? And so let's get into this. Let's start with Zinnia's sync grid first. Again, do keep in mind, obviously, Zinnia free sync pair. We be getting the event back again, right? So let's look at it. So Zinnia. Starting off, obviously, the same stat buff nodes as we usually always get. You get an Outrage move gauge refresh 2. Unfortunately, it's 2, but it's okay. It's everything this month has been like 2 or 1 for some reason. You got more Outrage power-ups. Then you get Clear-Headed, which is actually really important, because without Clear-Headed, you actually won't be able to pick up say Crit Strike 2 on your Synchron, and Clear-Headed plus Crit Strike 2 is definitely better than, say, like Dauntless Draco Meteor, right? So that's definitely nice. And then you get another Weather Surge 3, which Zinnia obviously already has Weather Surge, so you don't need anything, you don't need to add anything to your team that you would differently from your regular non-gridded Zinnia team comp, right? So obviously that's extra 30% power up to your moves when there's weather, which is nice. And then moving on, you've got Draco Meteor power-ups, Draco Meteor accuracy stuff, Draco Meteor move gauge fresh 2. Again, if you are willing to spend a lucky cookie on Zinnia to pick up a Crit Strike 2, then Draco Meteor is definitely or not Draco Meteor, Outrage is probably the better option here, right? Moving on, more Draco Meteor power-ups. Special Reserve 4 once per battle. Potentially raise your special attack in a pinch. Again, not the biggest deal in the world, honestly. Weather Sync Up 5 powers up your sync moves by 50% when weather conditions are in effect. Moving on, Aerial Ace move gauge. No one cares about the Aerial Ace stuff. Let's just power through these. Mind Swell 3 on Aerial Ace. Okay. Grand Entry 2 sharply raises your special attack when you enter the battle. Also not extremely, whatever, right? Stellar Imagination, MP Refresh. Obviously, MP Refresh and Trainer move. It's also MP Refresh 2, by the way. And then you got some other stuff. Dimensional Defender Draco Meteor, which is sync move power up. So if you look at like Zinnia's grid, she honestly didn't really get much. Her grid is pretty not good, right? You didn't really get much on your grid, but you did get some very important things. One being Clear-Headed is very important, and the Weather Boost 3 is also obviously really nice. Again, nothing else of real importance, right? However, despite the grid being not really crazy, Zinnia is actually really nice now after this grid update. She could hit around syncs with Cynthia levels of damage. Again, a free unit hitting a Pokefair levels of damage is, in my opinion, pretty nice, right? Again, this is free. Should definitely be better than Palkia in terms of Dragon type striker, right? So you could everyone could just run Palkia as the water type striker, and then run Rayquaza as the Dragon type striker, because Rayquaza is definitely a much better Dragon type striker than Palkia is over here, right? So that's nice. Again, even though the sync grid looks kind of do keep in mind base Zinnia already has really good damage already, right? Base non-gridded Zinnia is already has some really great upsides, and then now I get the extra 30% on whether was it Weather Boost or Weather Surge? I think it's Weather Surge, right? Weather Surge 3, obviously really nice. And then you clear your biggest problem with Zinnia, which is, well, I wouldn't say the biggest problem, but one of the big problems with the Zinnia pre-grid, which is since you don't have either Dauntless or Clear-Headed, you have to run one of those as your lucky skill on Zinnia's passive instead of giving it an extra 20% with Crit Strike 2, which is what would have been, much better. And now, since, again, you do have Clear-Headed over here on Outrage, you could definitely just go ahead and run Crit Strike 2, and that's an extra 20% damage, which you couldn't really do before because you kind of had to run either one of, Dauntless for Draco Meteor or Clear-Headed for Outrage, right? So this is definitely a nice upgrade. Again, the grid doesn't look amazing, but honestly, Clear-Headed just fixes so many issues with Zinnia and makes her actually really nice. Again, a free unit, you can't expect every single free unit to be hitting as hard as Palkia does. But again, a free unit hitting around like a Pokefair Dragon type, that's honestly a win in my book, right? Moving on to the Leaf grid, which I actually have kind of opposite. There's a lot of Leaf Blade stuff, so I can't really find. Let's just go with Eevee or not, I guess. What's there we go. Let's go. So, all right, found Eevee's grid. So, Eevee's grid actually has some really nice things on her grid. However, I do have to say, her fundamental issue, unfortunately, did not really get fixed, which is really sad because I like Leaf a lot, and I especially like her sync move animation, one of the best in the game, in my opinion. Even though it's just the Z move, but I like it a lot, right? But yeah, I do think her sync grid is it's good. Obviously, it makes her much better because before her grid, she was honestly borderline bottom 5, 6, 7 supports in the game. This sync grid again does help her quite a bit, but again, unfortunately, does not fix her fundamental issue, right? Which is her as a support, her train move does basically nothing, right? I'm not gonna say absolutely nothing because it gives you gauges, which is all right. If you want that, you can just run Superior instead. But yeah, definitely did not fix that, which is kind of sad. But again, there are some nice stuff. Let's go into it. So, Leaf's grid, stat power ups over here, and you got Iron Tail power ups. Iron Tail. Oh, there we go. Move gauge refresh 3. Iron Tail move gauge refresh 3. You got Endurance. Iron Tail on a roll, which you could do, but I just don't really know why you would I mean, you could do that, but I just find using Tackle much better, right? So I mostly would ignore the Iron Tail stuff. Let's see. Let's Go MP Refresh 2. You don't really need that because again, Let's Go, it's not that great anyways. And then you got 2 MP Refreshes for it, which is okay. Okay, here's the only thing that they gave Let's Go, which is Barricade Buddies 1, which is +1 special defense for her whole team. And that is not good. It is not good. Unfortunately, I really wish they would have gave Let's Go a lot more things added on, right? They gave Hilbert so many things on his trainer move. They just threw everything on Hilbert's trainer move, and then Leaf couldn't even get something that make the attack buff on her trainer move be AoE for her whole team. Nothing, unfortunately, outside of this +1 special defense, which is again it's something, but again it's not a big deal, right? So that's just kind of sad, right? Anyways, moving on. Got some tackle power-ups, more tackle power-ups. Potion MP Refresh 2, so we got 2 of these, which is nice, right? Stoic 1 for tackle, 20% chance of raising your defense after you use tackle for 10 energy. Master Healer 2 for potions, and then staggering 2 on tackle, 3% chance for a flinch on your tackle, right? And then Friend Band 9, which removes all the status conditions, which turns your potion into a potion that also removes status conditions. Right? So that's nice. Although it is obviously very situational. Moving on, move gauge refresh 9 on tackle, which is cool. We got power flux 5, which no one cares. Recuperation 1 and adrenaline 1. So, which is, I mean, adrenaline 1's not great, but recuperation 1 is nice, right? So, you got like a lot of defensive stuff with Eevee, which is okay, but again, unfortunately not like really great, because like if you like, everyone will be comparing this because again, there are a lot of similarities here, right? If you're comparing Eevee with Skyla, which who by the way is free, right? Skyla's just much better, right? Because the thing with Eevee is, before your 3 turns, like before your sync, you basically don't do anything as a support, which is a very bad like opportunity wasted, because the first 3 turns of a battle is when usually the opponent, they don't do that much damage, and then you have time to set up to go into your first sync, which could either use your support like Eevee support, which Eevee does have a decent sync, right? Or you could go into your either big sync nuker or big damage healer, or your your damage healer that needs a mega, right? So you can mega that, and Eevee just provides almost 0 value there, right? The place where Eevee does come in is if you're fighting like a really long battle late in the game. You get the potions out, and then you keep your team alive, right? But unfortunately, she just takes way too long to get going, because firstly, again, you need to sync to do your stuff, right? And those buffs just aren't that great. They're not bad, right? Again, it really depends on what you're supporting. Some units could definitely only need +2 on the stats, but some units might would have appreciated a bit more, right? Like for example, Xerneas. The reason why Xerneas is so great, because you use its sync move once, and then that's +6, right? If you do EX Leaf, however, that does make her much more usable, right? Because you're not just getting +2 on each stat, which again is slightly underwhelming, but you're also getting obviously the support buff, which does make Leaf's sync move much, or Leaf as a unit in general, right, much more appealing to use than over some other options. Although even in that case, there are other options that might still be a bit more useful, but again, it does make Leaf much better, right? But then that also brings the point that, well, if you want to make Leaf gray, you kind of have to EX her, right? Which again, if you like Leaf, you would do that, right? I mean, I personally like Leaf a lot, although I do kind of like the regular outfit a bit more than the EX outfit. The EX outfit is good, but I think it's just more, I don't know, it just seems like a bit more it's a different taste than what I'd personally prefer, right? But yeah, Leaf again obviously did get a upgrade on the grid. Unfortunately, again, in my opinion, her fundamental issues didn't really get addressed that much. She's definitely usable. It's just a lot of other units kind of do what she does already, but like better, right? Especially like a lot of them being free, right? But if you do have the resources to 6R EX her, then that's amazing, right? 6R EX Leaf is really good because, again, like I mentioned before, like just getting all that stuff like on your sync is not extremely worth it. But if on top of that you're also getting the 2 times support EX buff, that makes your Leaf EX sync very much worth it, and obviously going to help your team a lot, right? Again, it kind of depends on the units, right? Because not a lot of units really need it's just in a weird position. Like some units don't need the Leaf sync, and some units it's just not like enough. But again, some units would be very fine with that, right? There are a lot of units that have, say, X attack or X special attack, obviously 2 MP on that, so you're just getting like +4, so you only need +2, and then, you know, if for those units that who only need +2, then Leaf, you know, obviously you got all that stuff, right, which is really, really nice. But yeah, I'd say both of these obviously really, really great upgrades. I personally do like you know, Rayquaza's upgrade a lot, right? Even though again, it doesn't seem that much on paper, right? If you're looking at, you know, if you're looking at the grid, it's like, well, what the heck? It didn't get too much. But again, like Rayquaza getting clear-headed is just incredibly, incredibly important, and I think people are underrating the hell out of like how much better Rayquaza gets just by having just by having clear-headed on the grid. And it's a lot of people, well, you could do the lucky skills, like I mentioned before. It's not good to have it as a lucky skill, right? It's so much better to have it on Rayquaza's sync grid. So I do like that a lot. Looking forward to that. So anyways, that's me with this one. I guess I hope you guys know. Let me guys think in the comments down below. Like and this video, so my channel for some more Pokemon content again. I also did, you know, went over all the newer sync pairs, so you guys could check that out on the channel. Tomorrow I'll see if I could stream some more Monster Hunter Rise. Obviously, didn't have time to stream Monster Hunter Rise because they, you know, the update and all that. But anyways, again, have fun, folks, and I'll see you guys in the next one.